Well, let's go from somebody that has very little conviction in their voice when they speak to somebody that has very little conviction in their voice when they speak. It was a big debut for, I guess, people who were waiting for the debut, but the debut of our friend from AEW, Mariah May, over in NXT now, was she came out and said, I have arrived. And that was her debut, basically. There was a little bit more to it, but the, the AEW audience is all fired up about it, and the internet audience is all fired up about it. The NXT crowd, because they are a mix of the two groups that I just talked about, we're happy to see it. But we need to judge this in the overall scheme of things. It's not like they just signed Mildred Burke. We don't know what her name's going to be yet, but Brian, she's got a look. She's just signed with their talent agency because, you know, she got the perfect face for movies, that type of thing. But is she going to make a big difference in the WWE women's roster gene pool that is quite deeper than the kiddie pool that she was in before?
Well, she's really good, I have to say. I think she's really good. Will she do well in WWE? I think she's kind of custom made for WWE. I think she's probably better than just about all the women in NXT right now. And that's, you know, one of the weird things is her going to NXT, and Julia and Stephanie Vacker, or Vacker, whatever it is, they both just got called up. They're both on the main roster now. They were in NXT for a very short period of time, one coming from Mexico, Japan, and an AEW pay-per-view, and the other one coming from Stardom, or Marigold, or some other word.
Gleet?
Gleet!
Gleet! I just always...
We need to do an update on the Japanese women's scene at some point soon, because there's always some new name popping up, but Mariah May was working over there, got the AEW deal. They gave her a push right away with the Toni Storm thing. And really, when you look at Toni Storm's like rise in popularity, it was all during the Mariah May feud, it seemed like. And then they put her over as the champion. She was over with their fans, it seemed like. And then she lost the Toni Storm feud. She was off TV and never came back. And the word was that she wanted to go WWE, and Toni knew it. So Toni wasn't going to use her. And then you get another one of these moments where someone from AEW debuts not on the main roster, but on NXT. And the commentators have to be like, they know who he is, or she is, but they oh my God, they're here! Oh,
it's her!
I can't believe what I'm seeing! You also can't say the name!
I don't know the name of the person that I am going crazy over.
But you see, they could spin it another way, because for this example, it could be, there's a blonde woman in lingerie standing up there! All of a sudden! But here she is, Mariah May. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, she is going to figure glamour in it some kind of way, because that's basically what happened. Is the other young ladies are arguing over who's going to be the NXT women's champion. And I think Jane Wayne Gacy has the belt right now. And the lights go out and they come back on. The spotlight is on the balcony area, and she's standing there and she's got the microphone and the people cheer, right? And she says something like, I have arrived and I am here. And basically, she was speaking very slowly, very deliberately. She had something that they had prepared for her, and she recited it. And it was just a tease, and the NXT women's division just got a lot more glamorous. But she never said her name, so we don't know what it's going to be. Announcers couldn't call her by what they don't know it's going to be. And that was it, the end. So we'll see what happens, but she is a fine-looking young lady, and we wish her the best in all of her future endeavors.
They announced this week also, right after she debuted, she signed with the Paradigm Talent Agency, a full-service entertainment agency that represents a wide range of talent in film, television, music, theater, and other areas.
That just happens to be owned by...
Who?
They're all part of the deal, aren't they?
Is this part of their thing? I'm not sure. Well, it says here she joins the Paradigm roster alongside top women in professional wrestling stars, including Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, Jade Cargill, and Alexa Bliss.
Well, yeah, and there's guys up. I think Punk is with them, I believe, and some of the other guys, but aren't they?
Are they owned by TKO?
They're either part of the family, or is it like the Fullers and the Fields family down in Alabama? They're related somehow by blood, but they're still all part of the family.
If I Google who is Paradigm Talent Agency, it tells me the same nonsense the other thing. Paradigm was founded in 1992 by Sam Gores, who continues to be the executive chairman and CEO.
Somebody, I'm not crazy, but well, let me rephrase that. Somebody involved in that talent agency is involved with the WWE in some kind of, or the overlords of it now in some kind of fashion, as I recall. I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
But anyway, the point being, every time that the WWE is picking and choosing now who they see that comes available that they can fit into the program. And whereas, as we know, Tony will pick up anybody that they go crazy about on a fucking message board or whatever for 15 minutes. And anybody that's mostly ever worked for the WWE. And the WWE is being more surgical with it and more future oriented. The guys the guys and girls that they have gotten from AEW are all of the age and the potential and the capability. Not saying it always pans out. Some people get hit by trucks, but the age and etc. and the talent level and the look that they can make stars in 2 to 5 years. Instead of, they don't need to find any game changers because they don't need to change the game. They're making a fortune. They want people for the future. Tony has to wait until somebody, some name for some reason that still has some appeal to the general public gets sideways with the WWE. And those are becoming fewer and farther between. So it's a completely opposite situation where young guys or girls with a future are flowing from AEW to WWE. And most of the time, either the other direction flow comes from guys they cut that ain't gonna make any difference anyway, or, well, the Chris Jericho was at the start, Punk was already gone, but the occasional name that they can get that still has some cachet in the industry. And who is that right now? Am I droning on, Brian, or do you see what I'm saying?
No, it's a bit of a drone. No, what I was going to say is,
son of a bitch.
You know, it's just interesting the way it's happened, though. Like I mentioned, Julia and Stephanie Vacquer. They both kept their names when they came in. And she's coming in off Miro reemerging with his old name, Aleister Black reemerging with his old name, but more specifically, maybe Ricky Starks coming in. Same thing. Look who it is! He's here! Maybe we could say Ricky! And then you find out it's Ricky Saints. Is that an AEW thing at this point more than a we want to own your name thing?
I don't know. Stephanie Lacquer, Varnish, what's her name? Nevertheless, she was a big name in Japan, and so was Julia, correct?
Stephanie
as far
was,
as the women's.
I think Stephanie was bigger in Mexico, but Stephanie
was bigger in Mexico, and Julia was from Japan. That's what, okay, they want to go to those places. They might figure, Because I've said it before, I don't understand the decision making process and who keeps their name and who doesn't. Oh my God, we can't let this guy keep Joe Smith, but fuck McGee is fine. I don't have any idea. But it would seem to me that in markets where anybody might be over that are merging markets for the WWE, if Stephanie was over in Mexico or Julia was over in Japan and they're wanting to go to those places, there's names they can already talk about. That may have played some part in the decision. I don't know.
Well, we'll see what happens. She debuted. She has arrived. She is there. She has signed with the talent agency. The article in Deadline said it was Mariah May who signed. Is that her real name? Actually, now I don't even know. Let's check out what her name is. Mariah May.
Her real name is probably Gertrude McGillicuddy.
Mariah May, who, by the way, debuted in June in NXT, for the record. Her real name is Mariah May Mead. M-E-A-D.
Well, Madeline Murray O'Hare would like a word.
See, I mean, I guess, is there anything to, one last thing about the whole name thing, for it to be the wrestler's decision. For a wrestler not to want their real name to be signed up by WWE for merchandising or whatever else, but then they can't use it, do you encounter that a lot? Like guys who, they have the option, or, you know, like Ricky Starks decided apparently, or he says he did, to be Ricky Saints. Mariah May is her real name. That's her first name and her middle name, according to this. Not wanting to sign that away. Is there anything up? Is there anything to that?
Well, see, you can't sign it away. You can sign the rights for a period of time, but you can't sign it away if it's really your name. So that's part of the bone of contention, or at least it used to be when I was in the office, is if it was somebody's real name and or they had prior usage of it in wrestling, if it wasn't their real name, but they had still used it, then when you signed the contract, you were giving them, a license to use that in promotion and marketing, merchandising, whatever, for the time that you're there, but they couldn't have it forever. But if they made the name up and gave it to you, that was their intellectual property, and they could do anything they wanted to with it in going forward in the future, including an up to with the fake Razor and Diesel thing, just putting two other fucking yahoos out there under that name. So that's why I was always, and it's not even like it wasn't even determined by star power, because they brought John Cena in and made his name John Cena when he was nobody. And he had been the prototype, which I didn't do that. That was, I'm not knocking the gimmick, but I'm saying that he had already been calling himself the prototype in California. And we met John and said, okay, it's his thing. Fine. Let's see what he can fucking do. The prototype. They didn't want that. Fine. But they gave him his real name, which they, again, it wasn't like, oh my God, we've got the biggest star in the world that we can advertise under this name, so we've got to do that. He was nobody at that point in time on a national basis. I bet you Vince just said, I don't like the prototype. What's his name? He's going to come out and fucking face off with Kurt Angle, John Cena. Okay, that sounds like a real name. And then there you go. And he lucked out somehow. I don't know how else to explain it. But you never can tell, it's a case-by-case basis, and you never know what they're thinking.
And a few years later, Bryan Danielson became Daniel Bryan, which I always thought was just the worst name. It just didn't sound right. It just sounded off.
Yeah. And again, you could never figure. Randy Orton, you kind of understood because he was a second-generation wrestler in the Orton family name or whatever. Cody Rhodes, that makes sense. But
look what they did to Kurt Hennig's son. Before he was Curtis Axel, he was Michael McGillicuddy. How's anyone getting over with that name?
Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Brian, but what you really need out of this whole thing is a good, restful night's sleep.
Boy, I know it.
That's what you need. And guess our old friends are back. You remember our friends at Beam? Our friends at Beam have beamed back down. And folks, if you're a new listener to the program, we're welcoming them back now, but they were with us in the past. They are the makers and the manufacturers and the masterminds behind Beam's Dream Powder. And if you want to get a good night's sleep, folks, Ole Anderson was famous for saying, all the wrestlers always call me and say, Ole, can I have a day off? And I don't book them, and then they've got a day off. And they don't have to do anything. But I'm a booker. I think for a living. So how can I take a day off? Just get up and not think? And see, that's the thing. You may be laying awake all night thinking about all the finishes you want to do, or the big angles, or the TV programs, or whatever. And you're laying there at 3 o'clock in the morning, or possibly thinking about some of your real life problems. And you're tossing and turning, and you can't even, you just can't lay down and just snooze yourself to sleep. And that's where the Dream Powder comes in, folks, because it will change everything. And Brian, you know this better than anybody, because not only is your lovely wife, Suzanne, a chronic user of the Beam's Dream Powder.
I don't know if I would phrase it like that, but she certainly is
habitual.
I don't know if I would phrase it like that, but she's certainly a fan of Beam, and she was very excited when it showed back up. I think the words were, "This is mine."
Yes, and Stacy does the same thing, because she has a problem with the tossing and turning and laying awake at night without sleep. But the Dream Powder is an all-natural sleep blend with science-backed ingredients. Brian, you got to follow the science of the lambs.
No, this is not the science of the lambs. This is science.
Well, a lot of lambs have given their lives for science. But the Beam Dream Powder...
yeah, that
is an all-natural sleep blend with science-backed ingredients designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. And unlike other sleep aids, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me tell you what, there's no next day grogginess. Just real deep sleep that helps you actually feel good in the morning. You don't get up the next day groggy. You wake up actually refreshed, not exhausted, just ready to take on the day. As the first 3 weeks Stace would take it, she'd wake up and want to punch somebody. But she'd do it with a smile on her face. She was beaming.
Yeah, that may not have anything to do.
If you're going to take on the day, you got to get the jump on it. Get aggressive. Hey, before they get the chance, boom. Beam has improved, I'll have you know, over 17.5 million nights of sleep. Of course, that's not one person. That's all the people that have taken the various beams. And 90% of users surveyed reported better sleep and waking up refreshed, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's not like you took some kind of tranquilizer and you wake up the next day and your tongue's hanging out like a long red necktie and it tastes like a sandhog just pulled his foot out of your mouth and you can't open your eyes. No, you wake up and you're perky and you're beaming and you're ready to open your eyes and throw the stuff in your suitcase and rush on over to the airport and get to the gate for your flight and then realize you hadn't planned to go anywhere that day. But you're perky. And
this may not be the greatest example. It's a great way to get a great night's sleep and feel great the next day. Great.
Yes. And no tossing and turning, kicking and screaming in the night. Screaming, "Destiny, destiny, no escaping. That's for me." You won't do that.
Is that what you do?
You'll be right there. It's a deep sleep. It's almost a suspended animation with Beam's
No, it's a wonderful, healthy night's sleep. It's not almost suspended animation.
They did a scientific survey. You actually only age 15 minutes every 8 hours. You sleep on Beam Dream Powder because it suspends the molecules from discomposing.
You almost made me believe you there for a second. I'm like, oh, he's talking about something serious. Then you went right back to this, ladies and
your
gentlemen.
molecules are always decomposing, Brian.
Let's talk about the everyday
Well,
human being, mom and pop, son and daughter, everything.
Stacy and Suzanne.
And
the wives. It all starts with the wives, and then they pass it down to the children, and they like COVID. Stacy passed that to me over Christmas.
Well, don't blame her for that. What's wrong with you? Go stop.
Well, who am I going to blame? The squirrels? Plus, folks, for a limited time right now, because they're back and they're anxious to please the cult of Cornette and put you to sleep as only they can. Beam's Dream Powder will put you to sleep better than AEW Wrestling. And right now, they're giving our listeners the best offer yet, up to 40% off. For a limited time only, try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off. That's a limited time. Again, I say a limited time, so act now, rush, hurry, scurry, don't be late. Go to shopbeam.com, shop, B-E-A-M, beam.com/JCE. Use the code JCE at checkout. Shopbeam.com/JCE, code JCE at checkout for up to 40% off. You're getting twice as much as you're paying for, practically. Roughly doing the math there.
Let's not roughly do anything. Let's stick to the figures. Up to 40% off.
Yes, that's almost half.
Up to 40% off. Let's just stick with that.
Well, it's close either way. You say potato, and I say just drink some Beam Dream Powder and just go to sleep. Go to sleep, my baby.
Oh, all right.
Go to sleep, little girl, little boy, little whatever you are. See, I'm singing lullabies to the children. Go to sleep, take your beam. Shut your face for the night so I don't have to listen to you griping about your toys.
It's like an alien landed and like they look like a human, but their voice somehow murders society. Beam, ladies and gentlemen. Like Jim said, let's not focus on the singing. Let's focus on it'll put you to sleep better than AEW. One more time, Jim. What's that beaming promo code and link?
Shopbeam.com/JCE. Use the code JCE at checkout. Up to 40% off. What more can you ask? Welcome back, Beam. Have people beaming in no time.